Okay, this is my Horyzon HD version 2 camera. I made a modification, as you can see, to move my keypad from the back to the front of the board unit, and it works great. What I did was I took a razor knife and I cut the unit out of the shrink sleeving here. That's a pretty thick shrink sleeving. It's almost like a shrink plastic, so it's going to be a little hard to cut when you dig in. But what I did was I went to the edge. I went in at like a 45-degree angle, right where the airspace is in between the board and the shrink sleeving, and I cut along this way. Cut down, and when I cut along this way, I was very careful because right here there's a piece of ribbon cable right in the center. When you hold your unit up to the side, of course you won't have this piece of wood on there yet. You'll see the piece of ribbon cable. Be careful when you cut around that so you don't cut it. When I cut the ribbon cable, I just punctured on the from the side and pulled out. And I did the same thing on the other side. I punctured from the side and pulled out with the cut. Once you get the this piece of shrink sleeving or plastic off, pull it back gently. There's aluminum. This looks like just something from a Brady marker covering these buttons here. I think one side of the buttons is actually stuck to this, so do not remove that piece of Brady marker there that has your identifications on them. Leave that intact because I think your buttons will fail to function if you take that off. It started coming up and I seen where it was attached, so I just laid it right back down. Okay, once you get that cut up and the board is adhered to this with a piece of double-faced tape. Take a thin, blunt object, this is what I use right here, and start pushing underneath, prying, just kind of working. Remember there's double-faced tape under there, so kind of working it to separate and move it from the double-faced tape. Once you get into the center right here, remember you have that ribbon cable and it's hooked to that board. So don't push all the way down. Only go about halfway and just kind of let the pressure kind of twist it and bring the board up. On the ends, you can kind of go all the way down and kind of push it. But in the center, do not go all the way down and bring that up because you don't want to damage the solder joints from the ribbon cable. Once you get that pried up, you'll see there's nothing holding this little board on here, but except double-faced tape, and then that small ribbon cable. It's a pretty good PC board, so don't be too concerned about damaging the board. But you still want to do it with caution and try not to put any pressure on that ribbon cable because I don't know how well that ribbon cable is pushed in there. And do this at your own risk. I would hate to see somebody damage their equipment, but I figured I'd post it because it just works great. And it really makes you, if you took this thing and threw it in the back of the closet like I did because you was frustrated about having to push the buttons, flip the screen, see what you was doing, this modification worked and it worked awesome. Just a piece of hobby wood, could be any kind of wood. You can see that's about 1.5 inches long there. I think that's about a 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch, maybe. I don't know. You have to measure to be sure, but it worked out perfect as far as the thickness of the board. So when I went to put the piece of wood on there, I used double-faced tape to adhere the wood to the unit. And right in the middle, right here, I cut a slot for the double-faced tape. So like from here over is taped, and from like here over is taped. And I left that slot there for the ribbon cable, so the ribbon cable wouldn't get trapped under the tape, so it would move freely. And I use double-faced tape because it gives it some give, just a little bit of give to where you don't damage anything. When I attach the unit to the board, I just use some thick, a couple of drops, a drop on this side and a drop on this side of thick epoxy, and attach the unit to the board. And then what I did, and before you do this, what I didn't do, what you might want to do, is your buttons, if you look at where your buttons are, and I apologize again for the blurry picture, your buttons are right on mine anywhere, right underneath the lettering, if you see. Take a marker and find where the center of your button is and just put a black dot on there to kind of mark a button. That way when you go to push your button, it's just right there. Once you get the black dot on there, then I use a piece of clear box tape. And I don't know if you look in the glare there, if you can see the little seam where the box tape is. But the box tape is of about 1/8 of an inch here, which is actually, if you have the screen on, is at the bottom of the image of the screen. And it's the box tape is the same width as this whole thing. So I taped from that spot all the way around, all the way up to the top here. That's all box tape. And you can see the tape shining right there and how it wraps around the unit. This unit, it makes it into a whole different unit. I know they have a version 3 out now, and the buttons are, I think, are on the top. I think, me personally, I think this is even nicer than the buttons being on the top, because now you can mount this unit in your plane, face up, or how you ever want to do it, and your button access is right there. And I also found if you take something, you could, if you just wanted to, you can make your little stylus or something with a little round edge on it, and it makes it easier, a little easier to push the buttons when you're pushing it with something in your hand than with your fingernails. Okay, let's turn this baby on. I'll give you an example on how it works. Okay, it's coming on. There you go. It works great. I'll go into the menu screen. There's a menu screen. I can toggle menu, stuff like that. Go back out of the menu screen. Back to the video. I mean, it just works great. I use this piece of wood. I wouldn't use anything metal, but any kind of wood. And it just gives you something to hang on to when you got the unit. And it just makes it a whole different unit. It's a great camera. I enjoy the camera. It's kind of cool to have your video right there, especially when you're recording. You can see how your recording went, and it's just a great modification, I thought. So I figured I'd post it and kind of take some of the unknown of not being able to see what's behind this away, and because I was kind of worried about damaging the camera, and I did not want to damage the camera. So anyway. There it is, the Horyzon version 2 conversion. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a text down there, and give me a thumbs up if you like this and if you found this helped, because I'm kind of curious if this really does anybody any good. And it might take me a minute to answer the emails back. I don't check my YouTube email often, so I will apologize up front, but I hope this helps. Everybody have a great day. Thanks a lot.